Right, now, I've tried to get a white dot in there and I actually just accidentally put it in there at the right spot, I think. Here, there's actually a little line on here, and that white dot's pretty close. Pretty sure it says top 1 and 6, because it's actually got more shit written back here a bit. I'm pretty sure that's top dead centre. I'll confirm that with Dad, because he was looking at it before. I really wish before we put the flywheel on we should have marked all that, but didn't realise it was there until we were sort of into it. It would have been easy to get a white marker and paint top dead centre on it. But anyway, so I was just looking at this because we were having issues with it running hot there near the end. So this is 1 in theory. We haven't changed the distributor out of it. So that one's 1. So at the moment, if that is top dead centre, we're really way retarded. Is that right? Yeah. So yeah. So if that's if that's meant to be number 1 there now. Yeah, we're really advanced. Sorry, really advanced, because it's fired number 1 way before. Way before. I don't know how many degrees that would be, but it's quite a chunk. It would be more than 20, I would have thought. It'd be more like maybe 30 degrees, which I think would be way advanced for something like this age, I would think. What I'll try and do is I'll try and put a mark on here where the wire is for number 1, which I think is back in about here somewhere. So yeah, it's quite a bit advanced for something of this age. It doesn't need to be. I would have thought like freaking 8 or 10 would have been plenty for something like this, or even less. Maybe somewhere between, I don't know, like I'm guessing probably somewhere between sort of 5 and 15 degrees advanced would be all that the thing would ever need, just with such low compression and all that sort of crap. So yeah, I think we're probably 30 or more advanced where it should be, and I think that's why we're all running hot. That's if I've got the mark right. It's in theory it should be. It's basically what we bang on or close to it. Top dead centre there now. Let's see if I've got that paint there. See, it says 1/6. It says top just above it. It's kind of hard to see because the top's got a, what do you want to call it, paint sort of half by over it. But you can see where that big splurge is, and there's like a bit of a line there. Yeah, there you go. This says top 1/6. So I'm pretty sure there's other stuff written up there. Pretty sure that's pretty much pointing at that bit of a freaking pointer on the casting there. So that, in theory, is very, very slightly, might be very slightly before top dead centre. So yeah, if that's right, we're well and truly advanced. So that's probably part of our issue. I would imagine 10 would be plenty. But anyway, so I think I've got that marked right now. So yeah, when we need to put the distributor in, we need to try and get number 1. I'd say back in about, or even here, would be more than enough advanced. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're about here. So it's probably, it's not 40, but it's probably 35. Yeah, we're not quite frickin' high lift cam V8 here. But yeah, like, I don't know, that's probably only frickin' 5 or 6 frickin' compression. I don't even know if it's that much. It's pretty low. But yeah, we're probably way too advanced. So that's probably what was running hot there near the end the other day. So I think we got that right. So yeah, I just tried to mark it. So at least if we're spinning her up with the timing light, then we can confirm that we are right. We should be able to see that dot dancing around somewhere in that vicinity. If we're past it, or if it's not there, we'll know we're frickin' miles off. So yeah, we'll try. We'll play with this again later. I'm going to go back to playing with frickin' Dodge stuff, but I just wanted to get this right, so at least we can double check that with Dad, and if we can get the other distributor sorted, we'll throw it in and we'll get it timed a lot closer. We could probably play with this now anyway, but if we can get that other distributor in, we'll play with it then. That's right. Righty. So I decided to make a new one of these because this one's pretty hammered. I could have reused this part of it and just made this part more out of it on. But I was like, might as well just make a new one. So I got a little bit of work to do on that. Drill a couple of holes, bend that tab up, cut the rest off. It's pretty much done. I was going to try and beat these in here, but this is 1.6, so it takes a bit of beating. And hopefully just have to make this piece down here. So it's only a small bit. Everything else seems to be okay, so just going to make a little piece to go in there as well. So, and then we'll do a little bit more, probably a little bit more finessing. Just got to bend that edge around a little bit. Yeah, and when I was mucking around with that earlier on. But yeah. So I think that'll do. We'll go have some lunch and we'll come back and carry on. Alrighty, so we're running with the original distributor again. That's pretty cool. Right, morning guys. So, not quite sure where I got to yesterday, but started making these pieces yesterday. I think when I left this, I don't think I'd cut all the extra crap off and bent that up. I think it was still long. And then I've made this piece to put in. I'm not sure if I've got this bend right. I think I might have a little bit long, this distance here. I have to double check that. Because I've done this after we were screwing around with the old studio again, which the videos are actually already up now. The one of us mucking around with the other day, plus the little clip that I did yesterday for about 9 minutes. I posted it actually yesterday. I should have dropped it this morning with the other one, or just slightly after the one. I forgot that I hadn't released that video. It was pending until this morning, but it's alright. It's one of those things. So yeah, but so carrying on with this, I'm just about, basically once I've done this and done a little bit of hammering dolling, we're just about finished the body work, or metal work. I might jump back onto the back of the body after this. I'll have a quick look at the doors, just make sure there's nothing there that I need to do. I know there's a little bit of panel beating, but I'll just check there's no rot or cracks or anything I've got to weld up. I'm actually surprised I've got through everything with the last little bit that's left in that bottle. There's still gas in there, but it's not showing on the gauge, it's still flowing, and it's still coming up to the right flow, whatever. Like I don't know what it's got a flow meter on. I'm not really sure, because some of them are metric and some of them are in in standard units. I'm not sure what that one is in, but it seems to be happy about 10 on the flow meter. Like it seemed to get a reasonable weld out of it. If I have it too high, then it blows the gas away. If I have it too low, then it's not enough, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I've still got that small bottle to throw on. I thought I would have run out by now, but I've managed to get through most of it. I'll probably run out putting this on probably. That's all right, because I've got the bottle there. What else was I going to say? Oh, I've been waiting to hear back from my brother about this fucking bedroll die. And I kind of, I was actually talking to the boys from Ironhead Garage yesterday, William, was it yesterday? I think it might have been yesterday. Yeah, I think it was. And I was talking to him and he said, oh, you know, I've got a 3/4 die, easy to get here. So I had a quick look on Amazon and there was a few floating around there. It wasn't terribly cheap to get it here. Like my cost plus his shipping, he was actually $140 New Zealand. It probably wasn't actually terribly expensive American. Like, I think if I could have got one here, it might have cost me $50 or $60 or something to get one, plus shipping, like within New Zealand to buy it and get it here. But I kind of need it. I don't know if my brothers can fucking make it over to her from him. So I just like, fucking screw it, I'll order it, and hopefully it'll turn up in a week or so, and we'll just deal with it then. If he happens to make me one, I'll have two. One will be hard and one won't be. Yeah, I haven't heard from him, so I know he's busy at work with everything like that, but I just was hoping that he might have watched the videos and messaged me back. Yeah, I'll make that and let me know, but yeah, I haven't heard from him, so I just ordered one. It's like, fucking screw it. If he makes me one, I've got two, so be it. But yeah, I just ordered one. At least I know I got one coming. Hopefully it won't take too long to get here. Amazon stuff's normally pretty quick, but it's been a long time since I've personally ordered anything off Amazon myself. Most of the stuff's come from William at Outlaw Garage that I've got from here, from Amazon, because this price stuff isn't too bad, but it's just the shipping at the moment. It's a bit of a killer from the US. It depends on where it's going to come from. If it's probably coming from Australia or something like that, because I know they have Amazon warehouses in Australia. I don't know if we have one here, but there is. I've got a funny suspicion there's Amazon stores here now, but I don't know if it's the same company, if you know what I mean. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, I've got one of those coming, and there was actually inch ones on there as well. So I don't know if I even need an inch one, but if I ever want one, I know where to get them. So yeah, got that coming. Anyway, we'll get into this. Right, so we had that other bracket on. Got the it perched up in the beach there pretty weirdly. I got a piece of steel in the vice, clamped that, and then a bit of a block on the, you can't quite see there, a block in the fender, and just gently clamped to the bench. Just such a, well, I wouldn't say it's at a better place, but at least it's at a half decent height. Just going to do a little hammer and dolly work down here. There's a bit of a lump in here. It's high. I'm just going to knock that down. And this should be ready to go, apart from obviously clean up on the inside. Yet, I haven't done the inside to any of them, but yeah. So I think probably what I'm going to end up doing, like I'll run around these with the wire wheel, and then I've got that rust converter stuff that I'm going to put on the inside of the bodies. I'll probably do the insides of these with as well, just because it's a lot easier to clean up the outside of the panel than it is the inside, especially with those Scotch-Brites, because they get hooked up and shit, and then they just tear themselves to pieces. And you end up damaging stuff, whereas, well, wire wheel's probably the same, but at least it's not so, well, as long as I do it right, it should be okay. But fix this. able to reinforce them behind here is like we did with these. Cut this out and then weld them behind, then I can weld up on this edge and here and strengthen it up. If you can hear me okay. Righty. So, the man that owns the car finally turned up this week, and he just gave all this stuff a good scrape down, and I used the pressure washer to clean fucking hopefully 95% of the crap off it. I'm gonna go around to Dad's later, if I remember, and just check to see what this bottle is. It's like an acid type wash to clean stuff up with that I'll use sort of spray on and then hose off a couple of times, spray it on a couple of times, hose it off a couple of times, and it'll come up like really, really clean, and it'll bite into everything. Give everything like a good key, I guess you'd call it, for paint. And done the motor as well. I actually thought that might have been the green paint there, but I got a sneaking suspicion that's what they just painted everything green, that colour. But if you look down here, it's like this light green. I think that's what colour the motor's meant to be. So, you can see a better piece there. So I might, unfortunately I can't take a bit off, because I was going to take that off, and then I realised once we started cleaning up, that green started showing up, which looked like the original. This looks like, later on, because I was going to pinch that cover off the front of the motor, this wee piece here. But what I'll do is I'll just take a photo and we'll just get it close, and we'll, I guess once we've got it acid washed, we'll mask off what we want to paint. Don't want painted green, and we'll paint everything green. Like we'll quickly take the fan off, probably unbolt this, a couple of things like that. Paint the motor green, obviously probably tape the plugs up, or whip them out probably, and just poke something down the plug hole. Paint it green, obviously get the old hoses off, give it a good clean up, paint everything green, mask anything off that want painted black, put some cardboard around it and tape around it, paint the bits off that we not want to take off, because we don't want to disturb anything too much on this old thing, because it does run, and paint everything else black, and then we'll throw it back together and also do the same with the box. I think that'll be just painted black, so we'll whip around that and paint it all black. Tape up the gear, take the gear knob off and whatever else, and I think we'll just give it a bloody good wash down, spray it all black and bolt it back in. It's kind of, I can't really do too much else than that. I'm pretty much done with all this stuff. I'm going to start on the doors shortly. I know there's not really much to do on these, they just need to clean up. Probably have to take these little leather bits off. We've got a little bit of panel beating to do on that. I've been around this, reinforced these, because this is only held on by the front spring hangers. Take the bolt off and it comes back on the outside, so there must be meant to be like a washer, and then the nut goes on. That's all that holds it on. There's nothing else holds it on. That and gravity. So yeah, that's basically done. We reinforced that, which you would have seen on the high speed. That's about a 2-inch hole, and as you would have seen, I actually measured it that way, took a rough guess of what that hole was, marked that out, laid that thing in there and marked its centres, and got it pretty central. I think it's pretty good. The best guess I can guess, it was about 2 inches around. It might have been slightly bigger, but a lot of this was chewed away, so it was kind of was about 2 1/4 in places, but in other places it was like closer to 2 inches or 50 mil. So yeah, we took best guess scenario, put the 50 mil hole saw through it, or 2-inch hole saw through it, piece of steel, made a ring reinforce that too, because there's a front, where are we, this piece pushes against it, so that holds the motor in. Same which is the there's a snout thing that pokes through here, and that pushes against. Yep, that's forced against there, so obviously that rubs on it. So I wanted to give it a wee bit extra meat, just to try and make it last a bit longer. Like, it's not going to be dragging down the road, but I just thought a little bit extra meat and it's not going to hurt. So I'm just going to run over this with this new Scotchy pad, get that cleaned up because I haven't done it yet. And hopefully that bead roller turns up sometime in the next couple of weeks, and we can get those beads in, drill holes. Hopefully next week we'll have the body on. I've got a little bit of stuff to do to the body and check over those doors. So I'm hoping maybe Monday sometime we should be ready to put all this back together. Check it all out, make sure everything fits once we've got the motor and box back in. So I'm hoping by the end of Monday we should be good. And yeah, we'll try and find that acid. Is that there? Yeah, it is too. This is what I want. I knew I had some here somewhere, because we used it to clean that motor and that thing. So yeah, I need to go find some more of this strip clean to just give that motor and gearbox the last clean up and prep. So that's awesome. But yeah, apart from that, we're kind of good. So yeah, I'm just going to run over that with the Scotchy pad, and then we'll start on doors. Oh, that other front, I've got to put that patch in here. I've still got to do that, but apart from that, yeah, we're done with all the bolt-on stuff. Apart from look at the doors, and I know those front balance, the front hood and stuff, I think that's pretty much fine. It just needs probably a little bit of panel beating. So that's awesome. We're almost out of metal work. Almost out of metal work. The only other major thing we'll have to do is the running boards, but I'm not worried about that. I'm happy to make them, even if the car's finished. I can finish making them, put them together, give them to him, and he can bolt the bastards on. We'll just take some measurements and whatever. If I can get one started, and I'm still going to have those here, so that'll give me the rest of the measurements I need. But yeah, so I can't wait to get into this, just get some of these cracks and bits and pieces welded up and tied up a few bits in here. I've got my spray on rust converter too, that I want. I might have to get some more, but we'll see how far it goes. So this is what I want to spray on the inside of the body once I've given it a fairly good clean up. So basically neutralises the rust, converts it to a black primer in one step, and basically stops it from coming back within reason, if you know what I mean. And then we'll just texture coat pretty much straight over top of that. Might have to give it we might run out with one of those just Scotch-Brite pads by hand once that's sort of cured off, and then and then spray that texture coat all through there on seam sealer. But yeah, apart from that, we're good, and we'll do the same on the insides of the fenders. We'll do that same. Well, I don't know if we'll use that, but we'll do the texture coat like I did with this. You know what? We'll catch you later on. Right. So I've added a bit more of that CRC. I just missed the code basically. A couple just very light coats. Basically, it'll treat anything that's on the inside. Like I said, I will before we go to paint, I'll get a clean one of those Scotch-Brites and we'll give it a good scrub, and that'll just key the surface back in. This stuff is a bit funny. It's a good product, but I have painted over it and primed over it before and had issues. Not so much sticking, but not sticking, if you know what I mean. Like, never had any reactions with it, but yeah, I think as long as I give it a good scuff, and then I'll basically be just putting texture coat underneath there anyway, within reason. I'll probably put a wee bit of seam sealer in there. I've done a couple of repairs. It's never had seam sealer anyway, but I'll put a little bit of seam sealer in around some of these spots just to try and keep the moisture out from getting in places that it shouldn't be. But like one of those things, you know, for the fucking driving it's either going to be doing. It's not going to be a lot. And I've done the insides of these as well, and I've painted these two with that acid rust kill clean stuff. I've got very, very little left. I might have enough to do the outside of that too. I'll just let that other stuff flash off for a bit. Then I'll turn the panel down. Actually, I might have to spray the inside of this a bit more. I haven't got much of a coat on there. I might have to do a wee bit more later on, but I just want to, because we had that, that sort of flashing like this. Obviously don't want to sandblast them. This will work. We'll run out with Scotch Brite on the what do I call it, grinder again, and clean all this shit off, and then obviously we'll prep wipe it and whatever, and then etch it. So but I'm just trying to make sure that all this shit's neutralised, because hopefully, I don't know, maybe Monday or Tuesday next week or something like this, I might etch some of this stuff just to see how we get on. So yeah, I've only got one panel. Oh yeah, because I got those bits on that other panel stand. I could lift that stuff off. I might jiggle this out of the road. We might do these as well on the insides, and yeah, and then I'll do that last little repair on that one, which I haven't done yet. I've messaged my paint guy, and I hunted through the internet and I found a couple of pictures of that green that looked like it was pretty close to what that looks like. I'm pretty sure that's the original, not the stuff that's on the back, or on the front I should say. That looks more like the colour that the car was painted. So that looks more like the colour that it should be. But when you look on Google, there's a lot of engines that are close to that sort of colour too, but there's a lot of engines that are close to that sort of colour. That looks like to me like it's original, so I'm going with that. Yeah, if he doesn't like it, well, he can change the colour if he likes. It's another point. But yeah, so yeah, hopefully we'll get that acid wash. Hopefully we can get that acid wash stuff, so I can give that a good dose. I'll see if I can undo the plug wires and sort of pull them out of the road and bits and pieces, and we'll give it a good wash. I'll even get it around the, not that it really matters in the flywheel, because just the way that clutch works anyway, so. But, yeah, we'll give it all a good douse down. We might end up probably take the vacuum tank off it, and I'll see if I can get those old hoses off. I don't know about that one between the pump and the block. Let's leave that on. He can deal with that later on. Take the fan off. I don't want to take too much stuff off. We'll cover up the what do you want to call it? Magneto distributor. We'll cover that up and whatever, and we'll give this a good wash, acid wash. Make sure it's really clean, and then yeah, we'll spray that, and then obviously that'll do the same with that, but that'll be black because the cross member's black, so I imagine they would have been all black by the looks of it originally. So yeah, so hopefully, I don't know, by the end of the day, or maybe today's Friday, so maybe Saturday, maybe I might better get them outside and give them a once over. Looks like they're spraying all the grass off, so this grass will all be dead in couple of weeks. So yeah, anyway, we'll get into that and then we'll look at these doors. Shit, somebody stole the car. She's out tearing around. Wish the underarm pair. Awesome. Third. Right? Can't see for the freaking sun. Oh, awesome. So we'll bring you back later with an update. How's he on the driveway? He is too. Hope the brakes work. What's the verdict? What's the That's good. Aye? Yeah. Might have to find another drench container. Fair enough. Is it recording? Yeah. Awesome. It's still going. I guess. Yeah. We'll see if I can squeeze my ass in there. Hey?
You don't use a foot throttle.
No. Kind of there as an ornament.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see all the gears will work all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would have to be, yeah. At least that. Very good. Right, so I've got me other bottle of acid rust metal conditioner. It's like an acid based stuff, and so is that other. We've got a basically a bit over a gallon, 5 litres. So we'll use that to clean the motor and the gearbox up. So I've just sprayed all the insides of these panels with where are we? Yeah, this. Just a bit of a reasonable coat and around like with the parts where you sort of can't get back into, and funny spots, you know, where obviously moisture can sit and where some of the repairs and bits and pieces, but all over it generally on the inside, just because it's not so easy to clean off in there. Basically it'll just get a bit of a quick scuff up and whatever, and we'll flick a coat of primer in there, and then we'll put texture coat and paint on the inside. Obviously we've still got a little bit to do. We've still got to put those beads in and drill a few holes and whatever. But yeah, we've done all these and we've painted them all down with the acid conditioner, metal conditioner on the outside. So once these are all properly dry, and then I'll go over them with one of those Scotch-Brite wheels and clean all that shit back off again, and they'll be ready to etch on the outside. So they'll need a good scrub up and whatever, and basically same as what I did with the chassis before I painted it, same thing. It's just good because it neutralises any acid that's going to flash on the outside. So, disconnect that. Shit, and I'll get away from over there because it's not that bad, but like I'm fairly with a ventilator, it still fucking gets to you. Anyway, so I've thrown two of the doors up here to have a bit of a go over. So obviously I stripped all the paint off them by hand way back when we first pulled the car apart. Like that. So this one here looks alright. It's got probably a few little marks in it and whatever. So we have to go over that and just give it a good bloody clean up, inside and outside. And we'll do probably the same sort of thing, where it's not so easy to clean up and get back into. Make sure you get it really clean. We'll do the best we can in here, and then we'll go on with that rust convert one-step primer, because like all these places you can't get into. You get in there the best you can, do the best you can, whatever. I might even better, if I get some fresh grit, I might even throw them. I think I can get these in the sandblaster and just give them a wee blow around in some of these shittier spots. And obviously got to get a little bit of paint more off, but basically give that a really good go over inside. Flip it over, whale wheel it. Oh, Scotch-Brite with one of those. I'll use one of the worn ones that are getting down. Give it a really good clean up on the outside, and then we'll acid prep on this side, and we'll use that one step on this side. Just, because you can't get in these areas to clean it up. If you put that metal conditioner on, you've got to get it back off. So at least this side's easy. This one here is a little bit different. Okay, there's no rust in it, I don't think. But we got some damage down here. And this is why the sides of that body at the back were bent in. She's had a bit of a twist up at some stage, being suicide doors. So I think the easiest way to get into here is to cut a window on the back and then wet it back in. I'm thinking, look, I don't want to. We'll have to have a look. Like if I had a stud puller, I'd start welding some studs on and start pulling it. But for me, it's probably just as easy to cut a couple of access holes in them, clean her up. I can cut in here, get in there, panel beat it, clean it up on the inside, and give it then gives you a bit of an opportunity to make sure it's reasonable on the inside, and then I can just weld it back in, dress it up. If I have to put a little wee smidge of body filler or something in there, doesn't matter. Paint, whatever, and door panel, and nobody knows. Not that that's my problem with the door panel, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like it's easy fix. Get in there, weld a hunk back in, and away you go. It's pretty simple. They're pretty simple doors. It's not ideal, but when you got limited access, sometimes that's what you got to do. At least then we can get in there and hammer the worst of it out, and then we can make sure that this all fits properly when we put it back on. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is actually run over these with one of those, the remaining of one of these Scotch-Brites, instead of, because I can run over that fairly flat, clean the worst of that up, and then we'll tack that one. I'm not too worried about that one at the moment. That's simple. It's clean up and ready to paint. Maybe a scrape of body filler or whatever, We'll at some point run a block over and just check, make sure that it is flat, but we're really close to flat, and then we'll decide whether we need to do anything to it, or just maybe a light skim or a few coats of high build or whatever. But this obviously needs a wee bit of work. So we'll start with this one. Yeah, I think I can live with that. It's pretty straight now. Like, you know, a little bit of body fill is not going to hurt anything. You know, it's a shame to have to cut into it like this, but sometimes it's just what you got to do. You know, to get it reasonable, you know, we can live with a little bit of body filler in there. And same down here. You know, there's hardly anything down in there now. I had a shitty crease in there. Pushed in. And we can live with a little bit of body filler through there. Skim it out. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit around here. It's a given, but you know, it's not bad now. And I think the rest of it's pretty straight. On the wheels of it, I think there's one little dent in it. Somewhere here, like it's just a little. It's only in. So, you know, a scrape body filler through it. Should be right. Be pretty good. Tidy the edges up a little bit, or if it needs it. And if they're being bent and twisted anyway. But yeah, we'll check the time anyway, and we'll prep all this to weld it back in. I might just on this piece, I might just cut part of that top layer back a smidge, so when we weld it in, this bottom layer is basically together. You know, obviously it's going to have a little gap because it's got a cutting disc through there. But I'll just cut this top layer back just a little bit, or even bevel it back on an angle, so we can get a good penetration through both pieces. And we should be good. We should be golden. Obviously it's going to be the odd spot we're not going to be able to get into, but the bulk of it ain't going to matter much. We can weld that in and call it a day. Zap that other piece in, we'll clean them up on the backside, blow a bit of rust shit in there, and be done with it. And the worst comes to the worst, I can get in there and clean it up a bit better too. It's not ideal to have to do that, but you end up with a far better result, and a little bit of a patch, you know, weld in there, dress her up. No bastard's going to know. For a far better result, and you're not chasing masses of body filler. You know, you're going to put a scrape in there, block her off a couple of times, a few coats of high build, and away you go. You know, spend 2 minutes cutting it out, and you know, half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever, or a couple of hours panel beating. You know, at least you got some decent access. Get in there. You know, unless you're going to cut the whole freaking back off the door or something stupid, but for what it is for that, doesn't matter. It's not as art, so got a glass in it and the frame and all the rest of it. That's a pretty simple repair on this, but you can do the same with another door. You know, as long as you dress it up and clean it up properly and make sure it's welded in there properly, dress it up, scratch the body filler if you have to, and no bastard will ever know. You know, a few coats of, if you have to blow an extra couple of coats of high build through there and give it a wee extra block and just smooth her out, should be right. Nobody will know. But at least it's straight, you know, within reason, and you're good to go. So makes it light, especially if you don't have the gear to pull it out. You know, if you've got a stud welder and whatever else, and glue a few studs in there and pull her out and tap around it and whatever, and do the best you can, well, that's easy, you know. But if you haven't got the gear, next best fucking thing. You know, a little extra welding, but shit happens, you know. I'd much rather do that and then bang a whole body filler through it. So we'll get welding, cleaning up. Righty, back to call it quits for the day. So got that back in. I put it in here to weld across there. I've got to do some cleanup and also get a weld that back in. I've sprayed it on the inside of the door as much as I can with that stuff. Give it a good treatment in there, so I'll clean up the other piece in the morning, weld that on, put that back on there. Yeah, try and treat that in there before I weld it on. But that's pretty good now. It's not dead perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. It's not pushed in there. That's not all kinked up. So hopefully, now that it's sort of untwisted a little bit, we should better bolt it back on the car when we get the body on the chassis, and check that it fits, and maybe muck around with the door hinges a little bit. But yeah, we've got that pretty reasonable now. Might just hammer and dolly that a little bit more before I weld that patch in, but let's knock some of those high stops down a little bit more. But yeah, like I had a big dirty crease through there. So it's not bad now, it's pretty good. Skimmer body filling were good, so I'm pretty happy with that. Big improvement. Grind that shit off in the morning and a little bit of hammer and dolly before I do weld it on, and should be good. Righty, I'll see you in the morning.